everyone, this is John with Front Range Anglers, and today I'm going to be tying up one of my go-to guide patterns and one that I fish a lot personally myself. It's just the classic Waltz worm. In the vise I have a Fasna F420 in a size 14, and then for the bead we have a pink 2.4mm tungsten slotted bead. Obviously with this pattern you can do a ton of different color combos. So this is one of the ones I personally like to do, but you can switch up the bead color, the wire color, and you can even make them fancy and turn them into like a sexy waltz, which I'll kind of talk about as we go through it. But to start off, I personally like to have my waltz worms weighted. So I personally use a little bit of 0.015 lead wire, do around 6 wraps on there, right behind, snug it up under the tungsten bead, and then I'm going to be getting my 70 UTC Red thread, starting to get this on the shank. Oop, it got wrapped around my bobbin. There we go. And I'm going to start by just building kind of a nice little dam right behind that lead. One, so we can taper up to it, and it'll make it a little bit easier for us later to lock down the lead. So I'm just going to do some loose wraps. It'll probably fall in between the lead wraps, and that's fine. Just going to work this until it's kind of fully seated in and at the area I like. So I'm just like that. Bring that thread right behind the bead. And now we're going to go ahead and wrap in our wire. So for the wire, I'm just using some ultra wire, size small, in the color pink. Yet again, if you're doing a different color combo, I generally like to keep my wire color and the bead color the same. You don't have to, but that's what I like to do with them. I'm going to wrap that wire back to basically where the bend in the hook starts to come in, and then for the dubbing, I'm going to be using just some natural dubbing, natural color, and we're going to use quite a bit for it since this is, going to be our main body for this fly. So I'm just going to get a nice tight dubbing noodle on there. I try to make sure it's pressed on there pretty good. I'm going to start in the back, and we're just going to wrap that forward. Get some more as we need. I like to kind of do it in pieces instead of trying to get the whole amount on at once, just because I can kind of taper it as need be. Because we do want just a little bit of taper in there. If it gets kind of buggy and bulky, that's fine. That's actually one of the nice things about this pattern is I personally like to have a little bit of those fibers tailing off, so I like them to kind of look a little bit ugly at first. Something just like that. And then we're going to get our wire, and we're going to do some pretty tight wraps, opposite of what our thread was doing. Bring that forward right in behind the bead. Do a few wraps to lock that wire in. Helicopter it off. Now if you wanted to do a sexy waltz, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can add some tinsel wrap along with the wire wrap, or if you just want that flash to show, you can use like a mono thread or just mono to do your actual wraps, and you're just going to wrap that opposite of your tinsel, and that kind of replaces the wire. But I like a more natural look with my waltz. I will do some sexy waltzes here and there, but for the most part I just do a regular one. And then I'm going to get my whip finisher tool and build that kind of red hotspot collar, just like so. Make sure that's seated well. Go ahead and trim that off. And then we're basically done. I just kind of play with some of the fibers a little bit. Like I said, I like mine to kind of look messy. I don't like them to look really refined. And then after I'm done with that, if there's any really long guard fibers, I can go in and trim off some of those, but I'll keep most of them unless they're just crazy long. I like to pin them back, just like so, and that's how I like to fish my waltz worm. It's a great pattern. It imitates a lot of different bugs floating through the water, and one that I definitely check out. Thank you guys, like always. Have a good one.